I wonder what kind of decisions are actually being made over at Blumhouse because their track record lately, yeah. So Imaginary is Blumhouse's newest horror movie that released this last weekend. And it's just kind of an early in the year horror movie, which they tend to be but is it actually good? The movie's about a children's book author named Jessica who has gone through a traumatic experience in her childhood that has given her gaps in her memories and night terrors, leading her back to her childhood home with her new husband and stepdaughters to get a fresh start. But in this home, her stepdaughter develops an imaginary friend who turns out to be, you guessed it, an evil spirit. Now, I went into this movie with pretty low expectations just based off the last couple of PG-13 horror movies that we've seen, and I'd seen a couple meh reviews last week about this movie, but I'm a sucker for horror, so I had to check it out for myself, and I have to say, well, it's not that bad. By no means am I saying this is a game changer in horror films. In fact, there's a lot of cons, but I actually enjoyed it more than I thought I would. I'd say this movie sits in like that guilty pleasure kind of realm and is kind of a good intro into horror for a younger audience. Remember going to Blockbuster and walking into the horror section? There were so many random ass movies in there and they were good. Whether they be cheesy or fantastic, we still really liked them. And I feel like Imaginary fits into that kind of aspect. I remember this movie called Darkness Falls with a really cool concept about this scary tooth fairy. It was a really great movie, but it was cheesy as hell, and that's what Imaginary is kind of like. The movie suffers in poor writing and bad dialogue in its storytelling, making the overall movie extremely predictable, and you don't want that. Like, when the characters are having conversation, it's like they are completely oblivious to what's going on and not asking any questions that are insanely obvious. And there's this dude that the older stepdaughter shows interest in, and the whole time he's on screen, I'm like, who acts this way? And another thing is there's this old weird lady who is extremely suspicious and nobody ever talks about her. And then you find out that she knows a lot of things because it's predictable. When it comes to the scares, it doesn't hold back. And I mean that in a literal state, as in it sets up the jump scare and it delivers the jump scare. It makes the formula kind of dull because then you're just prepared for the whole movie and it ends up killing the scary aspect of it. And it eliminates the surprise aspect of it, which is a lot of what we like in horror. But all in all, Imaginary is okay. It's not anything great. It doesn't try to go above and beyond and try and be a revolutionary horror film. It's definitely directed just for the younger audience to get them into these new scary movies and hopefully build, love for the genre itself. I'd give this movie an easy 3 out of 5. I enjoyed it a lot more than others. And I think that it's very, it's pretty meh, but it's enjoyable, especially for what it is. I mean, this movie doesn't have a whole lot of good horror movies coming to it. Shudder, there's a lot of things on Shudder that look really good, but besides that, in the big blockbuster sense of horror, this is what we've been getting. So take that, and we'll catch you on the next one. Thank you all so much for tuning into the Calvin Cam podcast. We appreciate you all so very, very much. And if you like us, hit that like and subscribe button down below. It really helps us out, as well as you can go over to our social media platforms like Instagram or X and follow us over there. We like to communicate and build our community up, as well as you could also go to patreon.com/thecalvincam and join one of our 3 tiers that we offer. We offer a couple of different benefits per tier, and it's good stuff, and it would really, really help us, and we'd really appreciate it, of course. So thank you all so much for tuning in, and we'll catch you later.